brought this pot home especially for this tea and the one we had the other day, and I haven't really got to use it.
And why is it, like, the shape of the pot is significant?
It fits these kind of leaves better.
Yeah, it's a little taller and slender.
Yeah. And you can see these leaves over here. I'll show them to you in a second. The leaves will stand up in it better. You got these in the front yard?
The taller ones, yes. The little small ones came over from Rosie's. Like, the seeds must have...
Oh, they blew over.
The seed must... Because it was growing right near the car wheels.
Huh, that's funny.
And I looked over to her yard, and there were some there. I don't know if they were wild or something she planted. But she had a lot more of them.
I have another oolong, but I don't think there's enough in it for a full brew. Are you done?
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. I'll just brew another. Can I ask you a weird question?
Mm-hmm.
I've just been thinking about, like, I don't know. I don't know how to say things. I've just been thinking, I feel like you've been through so much in your life, but your outlook is so positive. And I just wonder how you've, like,
Was able to overcome this stuff.
or like, I don't know, just with everything you've been through, how do you still live in the love?
Yeah. I think it's like a mindset not to let those things rule who you are. Sometimes, like, I'll get caught up, like, my dreams bring back a lot of bad memories sometimes, and I have to, like, wake up and shake them off because I don't want to think about, like, focus on those things.
But I mean, you live in, I don't know, like everyone, all my friends are always so, like, touched by your gentleness. And it's just interesting to me that, like, somehow you've gone that direction and always were that. I don't know. Because I look at myself, I'm like, I feel like the things I struggle with are, like, the opposite, you know. Where
But
it's
you're
like
not
that.
a harsh person.
I'm not a harsh person,
yeah.
but the things I get stuck on make me...
Yeah.
I want to live more in that space.
Yeah. I think you just... I mean, I don't know if it's, like, really conscious, but it's maybe a subconscious decision not to be ruled by those things. I mean, in some ways they have. I mean, they've made me reluctant to have a close personal relationship other than with friends.
But it's not just like that kind of stuff. It's like other stuff in your life. You've been through a lot of health stuff. You've been through a lot of financial stuff. You know, big transitions of all sorts. Like, that's the stuff that, like, I know. I mean, obviously there's stuff that we talk about all the time in both of our lives. Like, it manifests in other ways. Like, you know, I know we both struggle with, like, having too much stuff around and things like that. Like, how the ways we feel about the world come through in those things. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm always, I guess, impressed and surprised that you're, like,
not beaten
you're gentle. Yeah, you're just still gentle. I don't know. I mean, it's a great way to be. And I feel like my whole life you've always still found the good in everything, even if we were, like, not always happy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there was no the love was still there. You know, I think that's just an interesting. Not everyone can do that. It's like, it's so simple, but it's also special. It's like it's not something everyone or most people have, and I feel like that's like, I don't know, I'm like proud and happy to have a parent who is like that, who like.
I was thinking, like, you know, we have a different kind of close relationship than your other friends have with their parents, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because
Yeah.
I think we, you know, just like. I mean, not that all parents and children don't go through things together, but like, we were experiencing the same things at the same time, and.
Plus, being a single parent for so long, I did make the effort to do things with you, take your friends places.
Right. But also, like, it was more. I think what it was is, and what I'm noticing as I watch myself age and you age and my friends age, it's more of a like. It's more the essence of like what we're talking about now. Like there was a space in our personal relationship always that was like this, where like we're having a conversation about something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that, and I think about that a lot too. It's like, maybe that's what it is. It's like having the awareness of something, but also making sure there's a space to talk about that stuff. Because there was never like, you know, if I asked hard questions about, like, not that you and my dad were ever married, but basically divorce or like money or relationships or death or anything, like there was nothing ignored. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
You want to try the other tea? This one's almost.
Even though this is almost done, it's nice because it doesn't have that bitterness.
Yeah, the floral note kind of comes through. I'm also really brewing it quite quickly. There's this band I listen to sometimes. They're kind of like a more like positive hardcore band. I don't listen to them a lot, but they have this lyric, and it's like what we're talking about. It's like, I think it's something like, and I believe in holding on to love, but I'm afraid to. But it's like, I don't think it's referencing like romantic love. I think it's like living
people.
Well, living in that space that I'm talking about, that I feel like you've figured out how to live in. It's like, it's scary to feel that when the world is not that, but when you can, and when you do, I feel like your life is so much more fulfilling. Like, I feel like, you know, I get down on myself, or like sometimes I even say things I shouldn't about like your life, where I'm like sort of projecting my fears of like of what I'm afraid of happening. But it's like, if you live in a space where that fear isn't what's ruining you, or like,
I'm more content than I think you realize.
Yeah, and that's because
you don't.
Well, I'm not content in my life with what I'm doing, and I'm perceiving or projecting that because you live You're living in a way that doesn't feel like what I want to live, but it doesn't mean that you're not happy. And that's a big life lesson, but I think about that a lot too. It's like enoughness, you know, like what is like.
You wonder, could you ever give up, like, the fast-paced life of a city to live out in the woods or something like that. I don't,
I mean,
homestead.
I think about it every day. I think
Yeah.
about every time I'm here and it's quiet.
Yeah.
I want to be in the mountains.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but then there's so much in the city that I love.
Yeah.
But
so
like,
much of interest to you.
but the thing is, it's not.
I think,
It's not the city. It's not nature. It's not whatever. It's like it's something inside.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not gonna change where I
Yeah.
am until I
Yeah.
figure it out. And that's sort of what I'm like
yeah.
curious with, because it's like I get so frustrated. I'm like, how. And to be honest, I think about it a lot. Like sometimes I feel like I'm gonna have to come back here because like this is where my family is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's frustrating and scary and like upsetting me because I don't understand when I like look at your life. I'm like, how are you here? Why are you here? How
Yeah.
can you like it?
Yeah.
And to realize that it can be enough or okay for
Yeah.
someone is like that's a hard thing to realize sometimes.
See, like, for me to go back to Larchmont or Connecticut, that would be anxiety provoking for me because of the lifestyles
Yeah,
and
it's
the
just
pace of
fast-paced,
life,
yeah.
and it's much more materialistic down there.
I mean, that's also your perception of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not how.
You would have to live.
No, it's. That's how I feel up here. You know, I feel like I have a certain view of how it is here, and that's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
But it's not true for most people.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think about that a lot because it's like I saw something once, which is it was like just remember when you wanted to be where you are now, or like so it's like it can be like a physical place or like a space in life, whatnot, because it's like you spend all this time wishing.
And when you get there.
And when you get there, you forget the journey. You forget that you're like,
Yeah.
you're where you wanted to be. Like I think about all the time I spent just wanting to be elsewhere, wanting to be in New York City, wanting to be like in a big city, and I'm there, and I'm like, do I like it?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like it. It's just the everything else. It's like there's something inside me that I need to figure out and like
to learn to enjoy whatever love whatever you're doing. I mean, even like my job, there were times where I hated it, but you had to find I had more opportunity to find satisfaction with my job because it was so people oriented.
Right. Well, I think that's the thing too, is like I've always had such a almost like perfectionist mentality. Like I expect a lot from myself, and I want, and that's how I'm feeling now. I'm like, I just want to figure out what it is that will fulfill me, and then work towards it. Because sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But like I feel like you like, the way you view the world is you can identify that so quickly and be like, I am doing that. Like I'm not where I want to be yet, or not doing what I want to do, but I'm doing this, and this, and I don't always see that.
Yeah. I can be happy in not the greatest circumstances, where you're more influenced by the outside factors.
Yeah, I think I absorb it too in a different way.
And that's that emphatic personality. Because you can go from being very unhappy, and then someone does something during your day and it changes your perspective immediately. Yeah. You're very flexible or influenced quickly by things like that. Like, let's say you were having a really bad day and then you went and saw Terry Cuddy and you had a positive experience. Yeah. You'd come back feeling wonderful or a lot better about yourself. Right. Or
I mean, that's always when I think about the notion of the city. I'm like, that's always how I felt. Like, I'd go a place, I'd be around the culture, the food, the people. Yeah. But then when you're in a space like that, you're like, oh, it's like, it's normal life. And then those things happen on the peripheral, just like they would anywhere. And
your kind of personality probably doesn't suit well to, like, the more superficial city life kind of person, so that's part of your struggle, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's something I kind of didn't realize. And also, before having access to getting out of a place like that with a car or something like that,
Yeah.
there's that there's a claustrophobia of a big place
Yeah.
where you can't leave.
Yeah.
But I feel that energetically sometimes too.
Yeah.
But I feel that a lot of places. Like you feel that at school, you feel that
Yeah.
in friend groups, you feel that in other things. It's just like, you gotta.
I remember John's brother, who lived and worked in the city, would say, "There's thousands of people around me, and I feel nothing but lonesomeness."
Yeah, that's very common in big cities.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, yeah, how you can, yeah, alone in the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think, like a lot of times you'll say, "I don't have friends." I think you touch people, and you're more important to people than they know how to express back to you. I find that with some of my friends, when someone says to me, like Beth will say, how much my friendship means to her, and how I can always talk things through with her.
Right.
It always still surprises
I
me
know.
that I have
Well-
an effect on someone.
Well, I mean, there's two things. A, I don't really think I mean or say I don't have friends. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is I am expressing a desire to expand my friend
Yeah.
group. Like, obviously, I love all my friends. I have friends. I hang out with them.
Yeah.
But
You don't have like a really close.
I do, but like I have people here like Ian or who like I have a creative friendship and
Yeah.
relationship with,
Yeah.
and like I desire a closeness in that way
Yeah.
that I haven't found particularly easy to find in a
Yeah.
place where I thought there
Yeah.
would be a lot of that. So that's what I mean. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't ever mean it that,
Yeah.
but then I was thinking the other day we talked about this. I heard this thing where someone was referencing some musician or something they really liked, and the person said, they're like, what is one thing you would tell people right now? And the person said, like, you'll never realize your fingerprint on people's lives. And I was like, it's such a cool way to put it.
True. Yeah.
Because like you think about,
Yeah.
I mean, all friends, teachers, etc.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're doing that to people's lives too,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is pretty amazing. And like,
Yeah. After that memorial service last week, I wonder if Annie realized how much she
Right.
impacted.
I mean, I'm
people.
sure in a way you realize, like,
Yeah.
obviously, like, you do things where people, like, you send your cards and your
Yeah.
gifts and everything to people
Yeah.
that you make, and that touches people, but I don't think you realize how important that is to people. There's so many people who don't have anyone, or they're lonely,
Yeah,
or
to do
whatever,
that.
and it probably means so much more to them than...
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking that's like a cool way to perceive that, because it reminds you that like all this stuff you're doing, it's for something, like,
Yeah.
and maybe that's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I
think about the photography.
There are times like
you know?
when I do my cards, and I'll spend weeks like working on Mother's Day cards or something, and then when I'm all done, I'm going, why did I spend all that time? And then I start getting text messages or something from people. Thank you so much for the card. It really made my day. Or so that's my way of just reaching out and
Right.
touching all the people I really care about. I think like for Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, I sent out like 50 cards.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Yeah, I think about that with my photography too. It's like sometimes I just feel like I'm taking a picture. What am I doing? What's this for? Why would I'm overwhelmed by the fact that I have so many, and then you have one person be touched by it.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, somebody liked our hands the other day.
that was Sam.
So that was
Mm.
neat.
But I don't know. I think
Your
it's
photography especially can be so moving, especially when you photograph people. You capture stuff that you don't see with the naked eye, kind of thing.
Oh, thank you. I think it's everything we're talking about. It's a sensitivity to that.
Yes, yeah. That's where your empathy or empathic.
It's empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not empathic.
Empath.
Yeah.
I know that
I can pick up on
empath.
the
Yeah.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny too. I feel like we're clearly both we're talking about normal things, but we're very emotional.
Yeah.
That's
Both.
I feel that
Yeah.
there's that space. I don't know if you feel it, but I always feel like a back and forth. Like I'm
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
energy, like emotionally overwhelmed, just because we're
Yeah.
like sharing stuff.
When we
But I feel that's that little space in front of
yeah,
us.
it's
That's
funny,
what I get into when I
yeah,
photograph.
I feel like there's a like when we have our tea and stuff like that, I feel like there's a tunnel between us, and it's just your shoulders to my shoulders kind of thing. And even though there's stuff around us, it's like really focused.
I feel it too.